Hi, it is Tootie Tagerly coming live to you from San Francisco, California, about 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. And we're talking today about how to recognize and avoid drama. It's a topic that I've been teaching and really workshopping a lot as I've been running a number of restorative justice workshops for workplaces to help move from unhealthy conflict, workplace dramas into a more productive way of working together. And one of the tools that I've been using that has resonated really well, both one on one with leadership clients as well as more in group settings, is a tool called the Carpman Drama Triangle that I wanted to share and talk a little bit about. And where this comes into play is when you are working with someone, anytime you have a system that consists of more than one person, there is bound to be conflict. There is perhaps a plum project that multiple people want, and there's drama over who gets the project. Perhaps there's been an incident where someone feels that they've been harassed and spoken about poorly in some way. Perhaps there's even an incident where there was a late drama deadline that everybody was working towards, and one person mistreated someone in their opinion, and the other person was like, no, I'm just trying to get the job done. This is the way that I talk. So really lots of different situations, and even at home, I have a 14-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter, and they've both been teens or preteens going through puberty and being socially isolated from the pandemic. We get into drama a lot. So what I wanted to share is a tool developed by John Carpman, and let me figure out how to share this, which is the drama triangle. And what it calls out is that in a conflict, there are three main roles that we tend to play with. And if I share that a little bit, yes. So in the drama triangle, whenever there's a conflict, there's these roles. There's victim on the bottom, persecutor on the left, and rescuer on the top right. And there's really not too much more that you need to see visually other than this triangle of victim, persecutor, and rescuer. So I will go back to my main part of it. So why this becomes a state of drama, and nobody wants drama. Nobody wants this. We want to be creative, we wanna be curious, we wanna get our work done, we wanna resolve conflict, and where why drama happens is because we have roles and attitudes and needs that we play. So if I start with the roles of the drama triangle, the first one on the bottom is the victim. If you think about a conflict, there is a scenario where there is a person who is harmed in some way. And I will also want to make a difference between victim and someone being victimized. Victim is an attitude. It's this attitude of poor me, this stuff was done to me. And that's very, very different than the concept of victimization. People have been victimized for many, many reasons. It could be with a health issue, that is a victimization. It could be a theft, a burglary. It could be issues of systemic racism, could be crimes, like many, many cases where there is victimization. But in this particular part of the drama triangle, it is a victim attitude or role of poor me. I I have been wronged. I have been harmed. In this particular situation, I am the one who has felt the worst about it. All right. So if we go to the other roles, if there's a victim, there's also a persecutor. Someone who's like, "What did you do? This is your fault. Why did this happen?" And an attacker, typically in the drama triangle. And then the final role is a rescuer. Someone in this scenario who's like, "Well, let me fix it. Let me smooth it over. Let me make this better." But the challenge with that is that this rescuing also adds to some of the drama. Um, so let me back out for a minute and talk about like these three parts of the drama triangle together, and maybe give a workplace example. We'll give a workplace example where there's two colleagues. We'll call them Miranda and Miriam, two M names. And Miranda and Miriam have both been working on a project together. Um, Miranda has been running late. Her work has been about 2 days late. She has not been able to keep up because she was dependent on other people. There were a lot of things happening. And Miriam, who is next in the waterfall of work, blows up in Miranda one day in a meeting. Just like, what? You are making me have to work the weekend now. What is happening in this scenario? You couldn't get your work done. Are you even competent? So in this scenario, Miriam's a bit of the victim, and Miranda's this persecutor, kind of saying it's your fault. Um, Miriam, as the victim, is like, well, what the heck? It's not my fault. It's the system. I couldn't get it done because I couldn't get into the system. I needed this password, and there's a little bit of the why are you yelling at me? It's not my fault. There's nothing that I could have done about it. And then if we have someone else jump in, perhaps the boss, Miriam and Miranda's boss jumps in and tries to smooth it over and say, "Oh no, it's okay. Let's figure it out. Let's fix it in this and that way." The challenge and the really interesting thing is if we think about this conflict scenario is that every single person in the drama triangle can flip between all of these roles. You can imagine, Miranda coming back and be like, "No." She's shifting from the victim to the persecutor and be like, "No, it's your fault. You didn't come to me to talk about this. You didn't, like, offer me any support." Um, and the boss is there trying to smooth everything over. So I think the interesting part, if we think about these roles, is we all have our patterns and these roles that we tend to fall into, whether it's victim, persecutor, and rescuer. And most of the time, most people that I work with, we rarely like to admit that we're the victim. Um, Let me share another scenario that actually just happened in my household not that long ago. Um, I was working. My 14-year-old daughter had a Monday off. I didn't know beforehand. I wasn't tracking her school schedule. So she had the Monday off. She pops awake, comes in to see me in my office or about which I'm my home office at about noon. And she's like, "Hey, can you drive me to my friend's house?" I'm like, "Well, no, I can. I'm about to jump on another meeting. Um, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? Why didn't you tell me about your plans earlier?" So in this traditional scenario, she's the victim because she's like, what's wrong with you? I need to get to my friend's house. You're not helping me. And I'm the persecutor because I'm the person saying no, no, no. But that quickly flipped when she starts saying, "Well, you're working. You're busy all the time. Why can't you help me?" And then I'm feeling persecuted because now she's flipped from being victim to persecutor. And I'm like, "Well, I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of clients. Like, why are you attacking me?" And so what's interesting is in this drama triangle, different people play different roles, and it all adds to unhealthy conflict and staying and oscillating in this drama. So now that you know a little bit of the tool and the roles, if we talk about this is about how to recognize and avoid drama, it's if you think back to your patterns at work or at home, is there one of these roles that you identify with the most? I work with a lot of coaches and teachers. Many of us are the rescuer role. We want to fix it. We want to come in and say, "Hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to show you how to fix it and make this all right." And many people don't understand why this role is a problem. And it's often a problem because one, this person will come in all the time and can start to feel really responsible, can get burnout, can be overworked, can feel like they jump in all the time to do it. And then secondly, if the rescuer is jumping in all the time, the other people in the scenario never have the chance to figure out what they would do in that scenario that's different. The one that resonates the most to me is persecutor. I tend to be somewhat assertive, have strong opinions, and high expectations, and I can very much give off this attitude about, "Well, why didn't you do that? I had this expectation. Why not?" Um, and then the one that people often don't want to talk about because it sounds pretty bad is playing the role of victim a lot. And I think I play this role a lot as a mom, especially having teen daughters. So, if this conversation is about how to recognize and avoid drama, I really wanted to share this tool of the drama triangle and understand like these three roles so that in your next conflict scenario, you can sit and figure out, well, if I'm using the Carpman drama triangle, what role am I in? Am I shifting from one role to the other? Because the first step of all of this is awareness, realizing what role am I playing? What's my place in this drama? And the way out of it is with taking responsibility, with curiosity, with creativity, just being like, all right, let's get out of poor me. Let's get out of it's all your fault. Let's get out of let me fix it and be like, well, in this scenario, what do I have influence over versus what do I have control over? Can I ask questions? Can I figure out if I'm a victim, what is it that I really need? Can I figure out if I'm the third party here, rather than rescuing and fixing people, how might I ask questions so they can see the way out themselves? All right, that's it for today. Sharing tools for how to recognize and avoid trauma, not trauma, avoid drama. And I'll be here next week. Chat soon. Bye.